The unfortunate part is they played so great. It's just how it lined up, Vicky.
And that's why, and you don't see it in rank for obvious reasons when it comes to cohesion, but they're still stalling for as long as possible here, but that's why sometimes you'll see Doctor Strange getting banned out in domination match to prevent a retouch, and Self has focused onto Jeff, but Dreamland had used everything they had, including a portal earlier, to try to keep contested. Mace comes in desperately, slams back down, but doesn't have that Angela ultimate. Zatex and follows up, and it is just a matter of time with the way that Dreamland is just trying to desperately stay on that point.
Yeah, Zatex, I mean, that could not have worked out better. Zatex also had an Agamotto, which Zatex isn't going to play Strange on the next map, so you got to use it anyway, right? So you get the Agamotto to get rid of the ever so stalling a symbol Captain America. So he's ulting at that. That was, it's a game of seconds and inches sometimes, Vicky, and that was the exact case. You saw 1 second tick down. I looked at the cooldowns. Strange was up. The clock was ticking down, and they were able to touch and get the win ultimately.
Yeah, and then you see the reasoning behind the way that Dreamland has been able to take that fight, even making that adjustment, having the Angela, because if it's going to be an air battle, guess what? Angela's just going to be able to disrupt Self, try to protect their own backline, because Self has been trying to narrow down on Valentine. Eve, and it's not just her too. Chime Jabori has been having to deal with that fight up in the air, but we are seeing some changes going into the second round.
Yeah, we'll have to see if Stinkers can put up a better job against them and find them a bit earlier. He was doing that on the second half, and Self, funny enough, him and Zatex were playing a lot more together in the first half, but Self kind of went towards the strategist the second way around. So looking towards the ult economy, definitely in favor of Odyssey, but close behind, you at least have the Legendary to keep things interesting. We knew this was going to be close, Vicky. We said the talent on both these teams and the desire to win is at a maximum.
See, now being able to play off this high ground already, we were talking about this air battle, but the Sign of Seduction to start things off from Soko as Stinkers plays a little bit of assassin here over to the side, going to be able to isolate Zatex and Self falling incredibly low, trying to reposition down on the low ground, getting out of the line of sight. Baser was already in position to allow this Karmic Revival to come out. All that hard work, it'd be a shame to be shut down to allow Odyssey to re-engage.
Yeah, Stinkers is doing exactly what I just said. He has to put the team on his back and win here. They did force the Soulbound, which is going to help a ton, but that new res keeps everybody a lot more healthy now as Chime is trying to play his part. No point has been capped yet. This is usually the longest point to cap for multiple reasons here. Now Ensemble keeping the team up with that Hulk slam. Self getting 2 now. It's about to be 3. Can Stinkers get the best of Self? It's close, but that's where Invisible Woman comes up so clutch, Vicky, and it is going to be Self on top.
Self is getting chowed one by one. They are trickling in, and he is just from Valentino or Jabori.
That's a great point there, Vic. Now, as Extermination comes up from Zatex, and it is Mace, though, with the absolute slam of the meteor to shut down that robot right in its tracks, unplug that thing. Zatex go to spawn, as Self now looking for at least a little survival. Soulball going out, has Supernova, is going to play some patience here and hide behind all this beautiful coverage we highlighted here in the pick ban phase. Now throwing down Supernova and the pressure, forcing the team to spread apart and get away from this point. Great job and awareness from Self.
And here you have Valentino, though, to try to shut it down with the invisible boundary, keeping everybody of Dreamland alive. And Soko does have that Sign of Seduction. You want to hold it here with Chuckles having that freedom charge. Stinker finding Zatex next means that Soko's going to want to hold on to that for the next re-engagement, because this is going to go in favor finally for Dreamland.
Yeah, great job not using all too much here. Dreamland recapping 49%, heck of a lot better than the 99 that they just had to fight against here. Looking at it, Stinkers was able to get the whole feed with his last legendary, but Baser was able to ult through it. Well, guess what? We're right back there again. Baser has that res. Stinkers is going to look for the Golden God as they clash here in just a moment.
Wait for it. Stinkers waiting. With that legendary, Odyssey could shut it down, though. I'm looking at Soko and the Sonic Seduction, with Baser getting away with these reses. Getting involved, they have some time here. Dreamland only at 30%, and here starts things off with that Sonic Seduction, wanting to look back at Stinkers. Currently, you have Chime, though, keeping everybody of Dreamland alive and allowing themselves to get a lot more aggressive, because you have the ability to get out of the line of sight of these teams thanks to this high low ground disparity.
A good patience here. I like what we're seeing as Chime now going for Self and gets close to the finish, and Self is somehow alive. No goes down.
Wow.
Allows that aggression, Vicky, and that is what's so crazy. But look at, they find him again. Nope. Self deleted twice in a row at the hands of Chime.
There's no way. Baser gets the Self revive into the res and brings back 2 more, and then Self goes out, unfortunately. But it's a good trade because they lose out on Valentina, who had that invisible boundary at the very end.
I mean, Stinkers is playing the game that he absolutely needs to. This is exactly what you want. 71% and ticking. They're able to flip the script quite easily.
Wow.
Odyssey used so much, Vicky. Listen, we watched a lot of Stinkers, and he was a crazy Psylocke, but man, look at what this guy's doing. We're seeing so much great Star-Lord play, by the way.
Yeah, and we've been seeing it honestly creeping up too. I wasn't expecting this, and you don't just need a Mantis, right? Like, Stinkers is getting pocketed by Valentina Jabori and still putting in a lot of pressure. You know why? Because that triple strategist with Chime coming in really helps out Stinkers shine too.
Self now taking this back angle, trying to at least get that pressure on, but he's not going to be able to stay alive that long. He does force the overtime, but does pay the ultimate price now as Chuckles going in. Odyssey now having to make the decision. Do you use Old Seer to try to win this thing, or do you hang on for the last round? And they don't have a choice because they are exterminated.
Oh, the pest control was called in, and he is just completely annihilating them like flies here. Jabori having that eternal bomb, Valentina still having that invisible boundary, and they've been holding on to it for quite some time because guess what? They take that first round, and they'll have everything ready to go going next.
That's exactly what you want to see. A team adapt well. I mean, they were obviously getting dominated in the air. And who was it, Vicky? I said they've got to rise up in this second match. They were kind of hinting at it in that first one there, but Stinkers coming to light. 18 final elims, 23k damage, 34 elims. Dang it, that's nasty.
Dude, 23k? Like, the fact that Self has been popping off and getting these great dinks of headshots and has 21 on the Torch here, 15 final. I mean, both of these DPS are obviously going crazy, but Stinkers definitely heard you, Cozy. He has stood up, and I really also feel like that Ultron was helping him out, too, following up.
Chime played a lot better. I think Zaytex played the stronger Ultron that first map, but Chime was the self-hunter on that one, if we're being quite honest. But looking at it, we'll see if Odyssey decides to change their approach, and you can actually see right away that they are going to be going with, instead of Self, he's going to the Atom.
Okay, we're getting a little piece here as Self going over to the item also means that aside from the extensive hero pool you got, it's a change up here that they're not expecting. Oh, nice little stun there off that portal after they were trying to go right through there and trying to block off Odyssey from behind.
They were trying to pull in into the penny trap. Is what they just tried to do. They had the penny mines out. They tried to use Valentina to pull them in. We saw that in the MRC. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Style points didn't land, but they tried. Now as Zaytex trying to get the early farm here. Mace popping in, 97% to the Agamotto, and Jabrori keeping the team alive. You have 2 Eternal Bonds out. Mace trades. Momentum is out of this fight, which is going to be huge for Dreamland, and they've got all the sustain for them.
Let's see the purple and blue, and it's just a double Eternal Bond just bruising everybody with its Baser going out first because Stinker comes up to the high ground. And although Valentina Eva's getting focused, they're not looking up on height because Stinkers is just getting away with running down Odyssey.
It's going to be interesting what Odyssey has to do to win this point because they did use a lot, but here's, man, Dreamland's in a perfect situation. You have Chuckles with his ult, right? So sustain is about to happen for a good while. This is going to be close to a 99 gap. I mean, calling it early here. They have a lot. Odyssey will have to play perfect play to get this point, but Dreamland can definitely sustain.
The fact that Odyssey here are just trying to hold on to this, just trying to see if they could try to maybe bait something out here from Dreamland as they're going to start slowly upping up their ultimates themselves. Here comes Zaytex with the Legendary, giving them a taste of their own medicine. Soko moves up, is going to be able to find Chuckles, and Chuckles is going to hold on to that Freedom Charge. They didn't really have too much out here to really defend themselves from that Legendary, so Odyssey are just going to be able to take control over this point, and Dreamland at least getting some extra credit with the 37%.
Yeah, I've been shocked by that, honestly. I thought they were going to at least try to keep that thing rolling with Chuckles, and now you're kind of sitting here, not on defense. You're back on offense with the Capel, which is fine. But yeah, I understand that you did have the Legendary, but Thought we were going to see a bit more sustain there potentially, but not. We have Self now with the res, momentum ready. We can trust Self with the res for sure here. As now going down, Valentina even taking down Zatex, pushed up a bit too forward there.
Oh, Valentina's going crazy, by the way, but is it worth it here? You got the res, and Stinker's going to move up Self with a ginormous res. I always have to mention it because it's like, you imagine how deflating it could be. You just pop off, you've used up your ultimate, but Valentina had that invisible boundary at the perfect time. This is what they were waiting for, and Chuckles had just used up that freedom charge right before, and now everything is going to come out unleashed from Dreamland as they were building into this after Odyssey in the last fight used up everything they had until this Eternal Bond comes in to save them.
Yeah, this is such a great point. We saw this from 100 Thieves, right? The team can go aggressive with Adam, then they all get res back, but can they get eliminated yet again? They're doing a pretty good job in convincing of it, but they have the Eternal Bond to keep them alive. 58% and climbing here, but the entire arsenal was used. Zatex getting close to Legendary. Keep your eyes on that, folks. Other than that, Dreamland is a bit away from Jabrori, so expect a 99 here from Odyssey.
Nice little cape here, though. Terror Cape just going to try to back them away as Momentum's forced to drop down, taking so much damage, by the way, as Zatex is about to have that Legendary on board. And right now, it's really only up to Jabrori to keep Dreamland alive before he gets it.
They're in a rough spot here, Vic. If you look at the ult charge and just what they have in Odyssey, but oh my gosh, momentum does fall. That's the only thing that couldn't happen. Just happened. Chuckles takes down Self as well. Those two things shouldn't have happened with what's in the roster, now allowing Dreamland to get that ult all the more. Valentina getting close. Jabrori did fall, though. That's going to help things a little bit. We're at 99, and at this point, Vic, it's going to be close, but Self is getting right there for the rest.
How did that happen, though, in that case, though? Because Dreamland had no answer to that Star-Lord ultimate that could have gone the distance, and now Dreamland were able to build into those ultimates for when it matters. Overtime taking away here, 99% in favor for Odyssey. Tries to slam down with that meter, doesn't find its mark, but it's fine because Mason Chime, they walk in with the Vanguards fighting these picks and Stinkers having a Legendary himself. Oh no. Oh no!
Self was waiting for it. The ultimate villain, 40% on and climbing. So very close, but they've got to defeat the one golden god himself. We've seen it all day today, folks. It's been Adam Warlock and the Reses to pay your attention to. Stinkers coming from behind, though, able to get one down. Can he make it two? Looking for it. Momentum, keeping the momentum, and he's got the ult on point.
And now they've used up everything. I mean, both teams have, right? But at 99%, Odyssey still have the advantage, while Dreamland, they're still stalling for as long as possible. And now here comes Mace with the portal to come right back around, and Zatex was still able to find Stinkers before he gets some help.
Yeah, we'll see what this Legendary can do. This is going to be the big difference maker. Can Zatex get the Legendary to pop off this time as he's forcing them inside? That's going to give them maybe the point cap, but he's going to push. He wants more. He's going for Valentina. They know it. Sombo dives in with him. That's great comms to it. They're in the bubble for protection now, and the point is still somehow not capped. Great job from Dreamland, keeping that thing theirs. Now, as Sombo gets two, make it three, and at this point, they're going to get... Oh my gosh. Stinkers has had that point forever, Vic.
Yeah, they've been trying so hard to just manage to plant their feet. I mean, look at this. It went from, what, 30-something% to 95%, and now Odyssey having Zatex right there, forcing everybody of Dreamland to go inside. They only have that extermination. They just need to retouch as they do right here, trying to go the distance as Dreamland are trying to wrap up Valentina having this invisible boundary. She gets it right on time, allowing Chime to play a little bit more aggressive.
Once again, how did this happen? They used the portal for Mace earlier. They could have pushed up. That's crazy. Yet again, Dreamland is able to survive this thing as close as you get in Rivals. They get one. They get two. Self has the res. Here it comes again, folks. You heard it before. And there it is again. Same song, same dance. Let's see who comes out on top now as the Eternal Bond paints the battlefield in both blood and the purple heaven now as Chuckles gets one down. Self goes down. Momentum forward. Legendary comes out. Vicky, this is looking like Dreamland can flip it.
Man, born again, cry again here because you know you got to keep fighting with their last breath with overtime taken away. And with Mace going down first, no matter how much Mace was trying to isolate the Emma that is Soko, they get called out first. They get taken out. And with Valentina healing so much, it's not going to have any sort of insurance to keep this team alive. Odyssey now just get to walk up for free even with overtime taken away. And Zatex is just going to clean up whatever's left.
I mean, absolute as close as it gets. Are you not? I mean, the last 4 matches of Rivals we've seen has been insane, Vicky. absolutely insane. I'm speechless.
It's also like so much crazy timing. Like, we're not talking about like, oh yeah, like at least they have 10 seconds. Like, no. Like, it's been a 1 second case for a lot of situations, as well as very detrimental picks that happen when they matter. Guess what? Self on the Atom took out the enemy Ultron when he was at 99% with the extermination. I mean, that was crazy. I mean, that would have been really the only thing they had to lean onto. But Zatex also was the only one with that aggressive ult, and they knew they had nothing to protect themselves with.
Yeah, no, Zatex turned into the final boss there for sure. And just really good follow-up from Sombo, things that you don't get to see in the back end, right? Of Zatex using the legendary. They're trying to survive with the cloak bubble, and then Sombo capitalizes with them, right? And that is what does it ultimately. Funny enough, we saw a similar matchup against 100 Thieves and Alani win, but the big difference here is that we didn't see the same mistakes made from this team. They were able to capitalize on what, I gotta say, a few times there, Vicky, I was stunned at what was happening in the turnaround of what should have been probably an easier victory, but great job either way. Dreamland's not going to go out easily, and so they do, lose one there, but I can tell you this team is about to punch right back because they've got the players to do so.
For real, I mean, I just, did Baser get punished like once? Like, it was like consistent 5-man reses that we saw, even if Baser happened to go down right afterwards. So it's honestly incredible how often Odyssey was able to recontest after reses like that.
Yeah, I mean, I gotta say, Dreamland played so well too. Like, through the reses, they were getting like another full rack of eliminations, but was just a little bit too late. They kind of solved the answer of Self, but that's what were we talking about when we went in here, Vic? I was saying this duo, Self and Zatex, is this 1-2 punch that is so tough, but then that undermines these other great players, Soko and Sombo. Insane at what they do. Soko's like quietly amazing, and then of course we've seen what we have there with this strategist and Momentum and Baser.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I honestly was not expecting Sombo to roll out with the Hulk, and like, mind you, that's like without the Namor on the table, right? Like, we had the Star-Lord from Zatex, obviously putting in the work, but the Hulk coming out, man, I mean, you gotta make do what you gotta guess if you're gonna get target banned, and he did what he had to, and Zatex being the MVP after a first game.
Yeah, listen, when we watched this team in stage 1, it felt like they were maybe one piece away, Vicky, but not only that they were also the experience away, right? And that they were a new team then. And it takes low lows to get high highs, and you can tell that team went through a huge low. I mean, they were super bummed when they lost, but you can see them come around to the team that they are right now, and Baser coming in really good to kind of help that team out and not have a weak spot. But Dreamland is insane too. Like, that was, they lost that map, but this is going to be a team that goes far as well.
Yeah, literally went down to the wire regardless. Even though, they won that first map, it was literally a round 3 situation here for both of these teams. And that also showcases why it's so important sometimes to have an answer to a Star-Lord ult. But then you have to try to conserve something for that. And that way something else when you have Self coming out with the res. So then all that work gets put to nothing if you do not isolate that Adam Warlock, which was from Baser originally before then we saw Self coming in.
Now listen, the lowest seed gets a high seed that earn their way in. Dreamland is that highest seed, and so we're going to see if they can continue to win that matchup. Ego Death of Old, now we've got Odyssey. Don't go anywhere, folks. I guarantee we're in for a good one. We'll be back after this quick break.
I want your soul! Hell unleashed!
keeping all those fighting souls. But yet, across the world I see you standing in my way. And remember the time, the place we used to fight, like the sun and moon, and I wonder. If ever there was a time that we were friends, the night has fallen, shadows looming, and yes, that time has come for me to seek you out. We are set now for our last reunion. Break the chains, find your way, come find me. Do you remember who you really are? Show me that you are still the only one for me. I'll be waiting for you. Bleed down, open your eyes, raising up your fists and smashing through time walls. Before the rift winters again, we are rebels till the end. Rise up, open your mind, hold on to your powers, no one can stop us. We are rivals till the end of time. We will clash, no matter where. We will fight, reaching across time and space. 'Cause you are my destiny to the end. You see the dawn, the flames burning brightly.
Welcome back, folks. It certainly has lived to the hype. We are in match 4, and it is neck and neck for Dreamland versus what has been such a fun Odyssey team now that we've seen now multiple Ignite stages. I expect both these teams to relock, reload as we look at the pick ban phase going forward here in just a moment. Vicky, what was your biggest takeaway from one of the teams here, both of them, as we looked at two dominant teams?
The target ban Ensemble. Ensemble still getting away with what he wanted on Hulk, I think. Because the isolation was there on Valentina, because you have to imagine, you have Mace that was on Angela at some points. We had Chuckles out here on Captain America at the end too. Chime was in the air, and then we had Stinkers trying to fly around too, trying to get into different positions. Who is there to help peel for Valentina if everyone is split up essentially there too, right? So there was a lot of isolation picks there in the back line that could have helped out Dreamland, but also the rotations of ultimates and then that res that would just stop whatever they came out with the Star-Lord ultimate.
Yeah, it's I think both teams have different strengths. I think the edge for the Vanguards, I probably would give to Odyssey, but the strategist front I would then give to Dreamland. So it is close. I think the duel it's fun because they both have hyper carries on the team and Stinkers self. Who lives up to that challenge, right? But yeah, I'm going to be interested to see what map Dreamland picks. I think they like Midtown Central Park. I think that's what they've leaned to in the past. We'll have to see if that's what they decide is the difference maker here. As we head in, we have no prior information, so we'll see in just a moment what map was picked, Vicky. Match number 2.
Ooh, I'm already jamming out. I'm already jamming out. Let's go. We got our Spider Islands coming up very shortly here, and it's going to be a good time here, too, because this is one of my personal, favorite maps, honestly. Not only is the music a jam, but moving on here also provides a lot of more of that verticality that we just saw in the first game.
I was just about to say, this is the map that highlighted Ego Death that long ago when we saw... yeah, right? So this is kind of a... It's a tough one to pick against Odyssey. I think they like this map a ton, so we'll have to see. Yeah, we'll have to see if they end up going dive and if they try to target Sombo once again. I can almost guarantee you Torch isn't going to make it this time around. You would think so, but they did figure it out towards the end, so maybe they allow it. Okay, they go with the Jean Grey save. Zatex.
Yeah, I like this too, because especially in that first point, everyone's always clustered up together, and in this case, Odyssey do start on the attack, so you're gonna have to break through that chokehold first, where we see the Moon Knight, the Storm usually roll out, whereas Dreamland, they want to rely on the triple Vanguard, triple strategist hold at first with the rocket to res them back, as we've already seen so many times. But the protection on the Ultron still highlights that we still are probably gonna have that vertical battle here. It's always back to the scene of the crime, it seems like, for Odyssey here on this map.
That's such a confident pick. They save Jean Grey and they're like, cool, we're gonna go Ultron. It's just Chime's that's fine. Luna gets out of there, which is always good just to help out what this team's trying to get accomplished. I'm very curious on this next band here for Odyssey, because this is going to tell the tale of their approach, and they might go with the exact same strategy as last time. We could see Oh, yeah. Okay. It's the Psylocke being banned. Stinkers is not going to get that. This is a good map to get rid of Psylocke.
They got rid of the Adam Warlock. The problem, they said here, no more Adam Warlock to worry about here, looks like, as Dreamland now looking to see with the protection on the Invisible Woman, just in case Odyssey wanted to go for any target bans themselves onto Valentina being as good as an Invisible Woman as she is.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Valentina, you don't often want to kind of one-trick a hero, and they can play whatever, but their level of Invisible Woman is next level. As now we see the ban for the Jean Grey, and that's always tough when you have one on your side and you can't respond with it. And so expect Zatex, who I expect to play the Jean, to really feast and look for those neutral fight eliminations. This is a pretty close quarter maps at times. So when you get those melee involved with the sparks, you truly get the ignite that we're in here. Last save going to Ultron.
Staying true to the name, honestly. And yeah, I was going to say, like, Valentina's been a player that, as somebody who was really focusing on just Invisible Woman for Season 2 specifically, it's been a great experience to see how Valentina has been able to stay on top. I saw, like, what, like 3 Valentina accounts at one point, like a season ago or so, like 2 seasons ago, and we get to see our final safe pick, the Ultron, the Invisible Woman, and on the other side, we have the Ultron and the Phoenix, but no Mantis for either side here, seeing how that's going to roll out as they still prioritize a Psylocke, recognizing, you know, Psylocke still being a problem here for Dreamland, so we're going to make sure they can't run it.
Yeah, with the Emma banned as well. And so, looking at it, Zatex going to the Moon Knight. That's just to get out of what is going to be the triple Vanguard first hold that we all know and love and see. Now, triple Vanguard is very common. What is not common, Vicky, is a Captain America, Venom, and Angela opening. Don't know if that's what we stick with. That'd be something for sure. Love the Moon Knight play, though. As always, we saw what can happen in that regard whenever we watch teams prior here today. But we head in, guys. Look for Storm. Look for more as we are setting our sights on Spider Island.
I love this map. It's one of the first maps I learned the game with too, actually. And it's just the music is super gas, but also being able to see how our teams are going to be able to make those adjustments as we've seen time and time again. I honestly feel like this is the closest in terms of high-level competition that we've seen a lot of these individual players, aside from just these teams themselves as a unit, have been. I feel like we are literally watching pinnacle Marvel Rivals esports right now.
Absolutely here now. Moving through the first push, we have Soko, and they are backed up a lot here, and that could be because the team comp, but they're trying to go for the early push. Okay, very interesting placement, okay? If you look at what they are trying to roll, they do have the triple Vanguard, but they are way back than we're usually seeing, but now they're pushing forward, allowing that initial push. Good freeze there to slow things down. They have to get kind of cheeky and tricky here with their approach with this specific lineup.
Yeah, right, because you usually see them trying to hug the point instead, just trying to prevent them from getting any sort of progress, but you see them now trying to move up while Odyssey are looking right behind them. The BRB used up, as you saw right there with Valentina being on the rocket, and then Mace taking to the skies on this Angela. Another interesting pick here, too, because you have more so a grounded Odyssey here trying to break through this choke.
I don't know if I love this against Odyssey because they have a good counter to it. Love Sambo on the Thing here, who does play a lot of Thing because A, that's going to be able to help counter what is going to be this barrage of Angela and Venom. But they're gonna have their work cut out for them for sure. You've seen a lot of Angela and Mace's focus go on that self-elimination and maybe a strategist if they can get away with it. Zatex now on that Jean Grey as we saw, and there it is right there. That is Stinker's job, probably gonna be Chuckle soon, is to just disturb and disrupt the DPS and strategist backline.
The Chime was waiting to make sure that self was not gonna get a reset there, by the way, before unleashing the It's Jeff. Everybody, let's see where they're gonna be going, as Chime is gonna just isolate the Luna Snow, and I always say that is a win here after the reach around between Dreamland taking over Odyssey and pushing them back to the spawn room gates.
Hey, what a unique comp, Dreamland, and hats off to you guys for throwing something that we have not seen a lot here. Yes, we get the triple Vanguard and strategist, but this is a new take on it on Spider Islands, and it's working against this team who obviously is trying to adapt on the fly. How do they even handle this thing? Zatex now over to Psylocke, does get the 1-2 punch and gets the last lap on Shuckles there, trying to get rid of that beacon, but committing a bit too much time now with the extermination to follow. Vicky, they really have to win this fight here. 2 minutes is plenty of time, but they got to get this thing out of the first push.
And Mace's Angela ultimates were really scary, so good thing Baser right there also had that Luna Snow Fate of both worlds to keep everybody alive, but then the isolation, the Mace shish kebab onto Zatex, who goes out while almost having to dance a butterfly.
I've got to say, Mace has been playing Angela pretty well. I saw Guru early. earlier, and now he's playing, matching that exact tenacity we saw earlier. Self doing what he does best, going on the carry, hero himself. There it is, though, yet another Jeff ult. Will we see the reaction from Self, and the Kraken impact is exactly just that. He's not going to let him get away. The aim is too good on this man. My gosh, as they're able to clean this thing out, get rid of the sustain that is Captain America. Steve Rogers, goodbye. See you later.
Just a matter of time, and that really opened the door thanks to Zatex for being able to get those crucial picks here as the portal play to try to get the fight here. They're going to be able to re-engage here. Not going to be able to get the jump that they were looking at that back line, but they were able to call out exactly where they were positioned as the shutdown. Zatex, once again, it doesn't matter if you're in the skies. No one is safe if Zatex has you in their eyes.
Yeah, I mean, they barely let them push this point up whatsoever, but unfortunately, Odyssey was absolutely ready for it. I mean, this team is not even just at all breaking, as Stinkers does get a little bit of a pick. I actually love the wolf switch here. I'll be curious to see if Self matches that. In fact, with Sombol on thing, I thought potentially that would be what we would see coming into this, but right now they don't really have a tank that they need the wolf for necessarily, as Nosoko on Strange himself has the Agamotto ready to rock, and there's no portal for Dreamland.
Oh, they get the team up, though, between Valentina and Sinkers being on the store alert, too. That's something else to highlight here, because he'll be able to at least be able to reposition if he is able to utilize that recon now. As now Odyssey, with Momentum having that invisible boundary, Baser, too, very close to having that fate of both worlds. This is going to go to distance in less than 5 seconds, and the Extermination is going to force out the invisible boundary first. Ooh, they found two.
Early there. Oh, my goodness, yeah. That was the Battle of the Vanguards, and it was really Odyssey coming up on top there. Yes, you do get a little bit of help from the res, but Zatex cleaning up what is the scraps left from the two Vanguards that we highlighted earlier on Odyssey. Just an absolute formidable duo. And now we push into point 2. That was just a game of patience and methodical play, and just adjusting, I think, ultimately, Vicky, to what was kind of a weird comp thrown at them.
100%, because they didn't have to utilize those 3 ultimates for one reason specifically, and getting those 2 picks extensively on Dreamland prevented Stinkers from being able to get the ultimate he wanted. We saw the second pick eventually too, and now Odyssey moving it, I believe it was on Chuckles originally, who still has that Venom ultimate, the Feast of the Abyss, so that could have allowed a huge reset. Now Odyssey move up, having that Luna Snow ultimate. Here comes the jab, though, as Zatex was still in the middle of the Dance of Butterflies. Huge bubble, is it going to be enough? As it seems like it is, even with the slam down. Zatex is just getting away with it, and Self is just blundering them enough to get the follow-ups.
Stinkers gets eliminated with 99. That was set up perfectly for Chime to get a massive elim, but nope, it's going to be Zatex with the last laugh here. And honestly, I haven't felt... I got to call... I think Chuckles and Mace, I'd like to see better play right now. I think I've not seen enough Vanguard just hold strong here, but we do have to switch to Emma like that in kind of this back half of the map here. They're switching up what this strategy is. These guys, they're great. I've seen them tons of times, and they have the talent. Let's see if they can put it together.
Stinkers having that Kraken impact right now. Ensemble has the reset and stop potential, but Baser gets the pick onto Stinkers, which is so big right now, considering that Odyssey having momentum and that invisible boundaries not used up is going to allow them to keep this stall going. On the attack as Odyssey try to now reach around with Self, about to have that Kraken impact.
Sambo's playing a different game than me when I watch his POV. Like, that is so craziness going there with the Captain America. Going up, Self does what he does. We saw it with Sarah before. Now it's Self putting it on himself to give this team the second point. 4.14 left. Going up with the Kraken. Down on Valentina Eve there to see if they can get the reset. No, it doesn't happen. Instead, Self goes down. It is Jabrori. Oh my goodness. What an absolute perfect play there from the team.
Oh, talk about swap-ups too. By the way, Chuckles having that Feast of the Abyss here. Chime too with the Extermination ready to go. And now they're just going to allow this stall to happen with Sambo just trying to play for their life as he gets finally taken out. And now they have less than 10 seconds on the board.
What a great hold. I mean, they're going to see if they can get this thing done. There's plenty of time left. Stinkers now with the Legendary for the early pick. Sambo having to go quickly over to the Strange. That's going to be the only way that they can continue this as they push forward. Smart awareness from Sambo as we do have the Dance of the Butterflies. Get one, but ultimately not going to get enough there. They do portal in. He realizes and rotates Vicky. Zatex and Sambo keeping this thing alive.
Yeah, but they don't really have that sustainability right now. But with Baser and Momentum coming right back and Zatex staying alive, here's right now Momentum right behind them. And there's still 2 picks. They found Self, they found Sambo, and Baser going out is huge with no fate of both rolls to keep this dog going. Dreamland, they hold back Odyssey before the second checkpoint.
Just amazing awareness to swap comps, and I love this comp way more in the back half here. Maze switching over to the Emma and getting this team firmly grounded for what was going to be an absolute crucial hold. They get it done and keep their dreams alive to continue this thing in the winner's bracket. Let's see how Odyssey responds and holds.
Man, Zatex was going crazy. It just here. Seeing how that's going to be enough versus Dreamland this time being on the attack. We have to talk about these Angelas that are showing up though, Cozy.
Yeah, Mace did well. I mean, there was certain plays I definitely liked there for Angela. We're kind of seeing how Angela develops. Funny enough, it was the same song and dance with Black Panther last time. It was like we saw it from Self, and then it was getting trickled in there a bit more. Right, Amazing played, and then it was everywhere. So we'll see if Angela's the same, a little bit of a different kit working, right? But, you know, anything can happen, especially if they decide to give, you know, a couple bump ups to the hero. But with this grade of comms, Vicky, and communication that they can do, this hero stands a much better chance in pro play.
And I think it really heavily relies on if there is that high to low ground disparity that we keep highlighting between these last 2 maps, but especially on this first checkpoint, there's a lot of areas to reposition, split a lot more attention, go back up on high ground, and even health packs that you could rely on.
Yeah, no, well said for sure. As Pirate thing in Self is hiding behind this, and actually I've never seen Self on the thing, so I'd love to see something a bit different now. We got the traditional more triple Vanguard approach. Stinker's now going for the early picks, and this is what we wanted to see in Domination. He's doing it again in the air with Jabrori to follow. Love this 1-2 punch in the skies.
A nice little stun here too. Jabori, uncontested, was able to call out Momentum, and with Chime now being on the Hella, that's a lot of damage follow-up potential, as Mace is going to be able to call them out, and Chime could just try to isolate them, group them together, and Valentina deals a finishing blow onto Sambo. Another team fight win as Dreamland are looking fantastic.
It's like Odyssey is getting Odyssey'd right now with these unique comps, right? Like that's what it feels like, and they're having to really adjust, and I think this is exactly what Dreamland wanted to do, whereas obviously Odyssey couldn't, you know, expect this. So in the pick ban phase, W goes to Dreamland, but here comes the portal out, and we'll see if they're able to do what Odyssey did to this portal and allow it to have no impact, but they've got to. 2 minutes on the clock, there's an eternity left to go.
Soko with the snipe onto Chime too, while Jabori's gonna try to keep Dreamland up after Chime going out. Valentina being on the rocket though, no BRB to bring him back, but at least the spawn room gates are right behind him. And with the extermination now, and Odyssey trickled in over to that side room, that just allows Self to get exterminated himself. And now Zatex answers back here, not only trying to keep Odyssey alive, but they're going to be able to cycle through the Eternal Bomb that Baser has next.
Yeah, Baser, this is going to help really well for the sustained Sambo close to be able to just dance around this point for what seems like ages. Everything thrown out now here for Dreamland. They've got to get this thing rolling before Sambo gets close. This is a way to do it, though. Stinkers gets the flip, the dodge, the hit, the wave, and down goes Baser as well. Stinkers showing why he's the player that he is. He gets 2, make it 3, Vicky.
Ooh, and he is still going with Sambo falling incredibly low. Mace deals a finishing blow. And now Dreamland, they wipe out the point, prevent Odyssey from continuously stalling. And they got to get to this first checkpoint soon. They got 1 minute and 55 seconds left.
Yeah, this is going to go dang near to overtime, but because if we look, obviously Sambo didn't get to use the ult on that one. They have it again. Momentum is ready. Soko has doesn't even need to wait for the counter of Stinkers. They used that last time. Probably fell off the clock just by a hair here. Now pushing forward with the team. Here we go. We'll see what happens with the ults. And if Soko, he is choosing to go with the patience game, which I like.
Odyssey have a plethora of ultimates, though, to work with here. Same thing for Chime now going in with the It's Jeff. Valentina brings Jabori right back. Talk about a little wait before catching the Ultron up on the roof. I cannot believe what I just saw. The fact that Zatex was so low, too, and he was able to get away with that. Chime, you are him. And now we get to see Self with the Supernova activated, but Sambo had that Freedom Charge first just to keep everyone into this fight.
They say pigs can fly. No, it's sharks that are flying here. in Marvel Rivals now as Stinkers is getting that ult film right back up, self-throwing down the tornadoes to get some pressure. Sambo did ult to keep that long sustain, and Zatex now is going to be able to get back to the battle, but matched by Jabrori. Right now, this is definitely momentum in favor of Dreamland here, as Jabrori's done a great job picking out the opposition from the skies here, looking for stuff yet again. Stinkers is going to follow with him. A great job in upkeep there from the strategist, but not enough. Stinkers gets 2 with the spin to win.
It gets a double hit here on the Family Massacre. The siblings out, and so far, Zatex follows right afterwards, balancing the Eve 2 with the Sia, allowing Dreamland to follow up, and Odyssey no longer left to contest before this first checkpoint.
Yo, Family Massacre is crazy, Vic. I love it. Well, going into what we've got now, 2 minutes and 40 seconds left. This is who I highlighted, though. Stinkers was the player who, if this team's going to win, like they did in the MRC, it falls on the hands of this guy. Tremendous play.
And there's that recon there too that we were talking about, just being able to recall right back over to that, having that rocket on your team when you are rocking the Star-Lord, and you do have that legendary online Chocos 2 with the Piece of the Abyss. Here starts off with that legendary, and momentum looked away for 2 seconds and got deleted.
Yeah, and Soko's just not lined up with these legendaries at all, so the team is just getting absolutely barraged on, unfortunately, here. Now is spinning to win yet again. They're not going to last long. Zatex goes down, and at this point, there's 2 minutes left. They've got at least, I want to say, 2 fights here to win. So if you are Odyssey, you've got to do what Dreamland did here and reset and just get this thing figured out, because you've got potentially 2 more fights here to earn the win, but Dreamland has everything, Vicky.
And to be able to hear the comms of Dreamland, by the way, because the way that they're not only ult tracking, the way that they are tracking abilities that have already been used has allowed them to get away with trying to get the full extent of not having to waste too many ultimates themselves if they get to isolate one of these other players on Odyssey, as the Extermination is the first to start off things, as Jabori trying to force them back. Literally one shot, they just use up the bubble here too. Soko can't get away, and here comes Sambo to recontest just so that way they can't get any progress.
Yeah, and they did Extermination too, and Zatex goes down. I mean, this is Dreamland's to win, because nothing is working out in the side of Odyssey, not able to slow things down. Chime now gets everybody's getting a piece of the pie, Vicky, and staggering at that. So it could not be going more in favor right now for Dreamland. They want to make this thing 1-1. They want to show why they are who they are, as now Chime pushing all the way to the point, and he's going to disrupt the portal. That was...
No, Chime, what are you doing? Oh my, the fact that he bounced off, you know he is clenched sitting on the edge of his seat, and then they still get to all the way to the end. The fact that they disrupted Odyssey that way, including that Doctor Strange portal, is crazy. We are going down to the finish line with Dreamland evening things up.
We knew this would be a 1-1 going into match 3. What a way to win, and with like aura points too. Like, what absolute beautiful locked in, and I knew Dreamland could do this exact thing. That's how they won the MRC. They came back and were able to, I think they came back 2 games and won the whole thing. And so you love to see it from this team that is showing that the practice of that gives them an advantage here. Odyssey is a great team, but honestly, looking at the stats here, Self has had better games. Didn't see what I wanted to from, them and what they can do. And on the opposition side, Vicky, Stinkers showed up massively.
Yeah, he not only showed, I'm just like appalled, like the things that I just witnessed in that match, like a disgusting flying Jeff ultimate on top of the rooftops. Like, I just, not expecting things like that, just for the end play to be eating up the Doctor Strange in the middle of trying to utilize that portal. Stinkers following up, and I think together with Jabori being on that Ultron, I feel like we saw a lot of impact from the Ultron, even from both sides, but specifically how important having that Ultron there for having that Star-Lord too.
Yeah, I mean, you highlighted it. I got to say, I've seen a lot in my time of casting, watching Rivals. Flying Jeffs, I can now check it on the list. Didn't have it on the bingo board, but shame on me. I'll put it in the free space next time if it's Dreamland at the helm of it. But yeah, really, I think the biggest takeaway, too, is Dreamland resetting nearly perfectly there on what was looking like a second point that could get away from them. Both times, the second point was theirs to win.
Looking back at a lot of these highlights here too, Jabori coming through with that Extermination here, just enabling Stinkers. I just want to be the point of view that from Zatex, after he thought he was safe, even though he was incredibly low, just to be in the jaws of Chime being on that Jeff. Get to see the replay, talk about timing here too, but that was just insane for me.
Yo, production, you guys are amazing. Always finding what we're talking about there. I got to highlight too, Soko, again, just never had the Meteor M to counter the legendary ever. I felt like it was 4, 5
Yes.
free ones for him, just always being able to rain down. And that alone, Vicky, can be enough to win. I mean, you've seen it there. All the pushes is just Stinkers, their best player, not being countered. And then look at this slam dunk there.
And even at the very end, you actually hear the Meteor M coming out, and then in the middle of using the Meteor M, you see the Venom actually take out the Magneto, and even into the Feast of the Abyss at one point too. So Stinkers, the MVP for Dreamland, but talk about not only a very solid defense from Dreamland, the way that they were able to rejoin together and still find those isolation picks essentially dismantled the foundation of what, you know, I think about Ego Death in my mind, the way that Odyssey had came into this series.
Yeah, I mean, we knew a couple 2-0s to start the day, and wow, what a finish so far. This has been some of the closest rivals that we've gotten to witness, and you love to see it this early in this group stage, Vicky, because that means we are in for a treat when everything is on the line for these teams. We're not talking about a couple $250,000 and then leading up to the $1 million land. So I would say there's a lot to play for, but funny enough, through all of that, I think for Odyssey, Pride might be the top of the list because they want to win. They know who they are. We'll see if they can do so, but Dreamland looking good.
Yep, it's all about to see if they're able to keep that consistency depending on which map we're going to be moving on to for this map number 3. Because so far, the theme has been, Cozy, these vertical maps that allow a lot of these repositional abilities from a lot of these flyers that we're witnessing.
Yeah, no, and it's kind of been the story of the Flyers in a lot of this and how they play, and they answered so well against what Self did there on Spider Islands. But now it's going to be Odyssey to pick their path on how their journey ends in the upper bracket, guys. Don't go anywhere. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be back to the action. Hello and welcome back, guys. We've had absolute cinema here. We're on hour 5 of match 4 of game 3 of day 2. I am just pumped for the action that we've had so far, Vicky, and we've got one more to seal the deal on one of these teams advancing.
And what better way to go down to the wire for both of our last 2 series that we've had thus far, Cozy. A final game here for day 2 of Americas. And these 2 teams are performing with Dreamland evening up the scores here. You have to imagine when you talk about the pick and ban phase, you want to put some of that attention onto Ensemble, but then you're trying to force out the Human Torch into Stinkers, who has been popping off, by the way, even in the game they did lose.
Yeah, I don't know if they... And you can't go with the Star-Lord ban, most likely, because you're just committing too much to one thing. And so, yes, we see that with Ensemble, but you're still getting the triple Vanguard bans in. So, it's going to be interesting on how they respond to this. And right now, I mean, it should be 50-50 from the viewer standpoint of who can win this, because both teams have shown that they have plenty of talent. One of these teams don't deserve to go down to the lower bracket, but one has to here. We'll see if it's the same song and dance. Ego Death went down there last time and had their run, but they don't want to go down yet again. It's 1-1. We are here. This is our last match today, so strap up. Get ready for a good one. And Vicky, I don't know about you, but I think I'm still mad at Millennia for showing us that pizza, because, yeah, I mean, this... I'm still thinking about it.
You know what? I don't know. I don't know if I'm still hungry, because after what I just witnessed, a crime from Chime, I feel like I lost my hunger just a little bit. But you know what? That's the fun thing about watching Jeff at the level that we have, as it looks like no Venom once again. Sorry, can't really pull that out, Odyssey. We know what you like to run sometimes, but the Venom is going to get shut down as the Ultron Protect comes out next.
We do get the self-hover on Panther. He's showing the people what they want a little bit. If they do go for Ensemble, maybe we get the Hulk Ensemble with the self-Panther. They pick the map, so it gets the home court advantage if they go that direction here. Looking at it, though, Mantis, Luna Band, do like those decisions there from Odyssey. The Gene save yet again for Zaytex, so that could give them a great hit scan to have with the team as Self does go in for the dive. Give the people what they want, Vic.
Yeah, I mean, let's talk about the fact that we are also going onto Hall of Jalia for this last map, too. Actually influencing probably the same thing that we've already been seeing before, that verticality that is provided, as they've learned their lesson. No Adam Warlock, no Phoenix, though, from the opposite side for Dreamland to run out here, but then you get to look at Odyssey and the fact that they can't rock out that Adam Warlock that they got away with so much with after that first map.
I know, well said here as we look towards the bands of getting, the Adam out into the same. So it's kind of the same song and dance for Odyssey of what they want to roll with. You know, they know they just lost the map, but they're not too uncomfortable with how it happens. Going to be curious on if the picks change as far as what they're going for, but it's just the strategist showdown here as they all get bans out, forcing people into their roles, but Valentina able to keep what they love best. Saved Invisible Woman last time. Let's see how we respond this time. The last save, and it goes to it goes to Sue again there. Curious to see if Odyssey would have banned them anyway, but let's see how they end up picking this.
I think it's interesting that this is a priority, though, for Dreamland, because we obviously, like, we already just saw Valentina popping off, right, with the Rocket, even with the Jeff backline together with that Ultron. As with that Protect, they get to still lean into that comfort. Both Ultrons still available here, and it's going to be the Phoenix going in favor for Zaytex to rock here. And I think with this map specifically and Odyssey coming out on defense, there's a lot of close quarter fights, especially after you get to that first checkpoint. Yes, it's that one long area, but once you reach to that second spot, that second checkpoint, that one long line is very difficult to deal with when you have a lot of that burst damage animation canceling coming out from the Phoenix.
That's a great point there, Vicky. And looking at it, we saw Chuckles play a ton of Hulk whenever we did get to see them in the MRC, and we're going to have that match there from the side of Odyssey. So we're going to see a lot of fun. You're going to see Gamma Squids everywhere, but look for the combo of the Phoenix and the Whale together that they don't have access to. Dreamland, that is banned out. So we're going to see a lot of combo wombos come together. That has been the difference with a lot of these wins for these top teams, but it's all about this first cap of the point, how they get it, and you know better than anyone, Vicky, that the momentum of this map is one of the most important.
Yes, it is. And it's crazy to see how much extra credit you could get away with, as even the chat almost split out here, with Dreamland being the highly favored team to come out on top with 57% on the predictions.
They like the performance that they saw there at the end of Zatex on defense. Jean Grey scouting there from the side, and they spotted him right away there, Vicky, and he's doing it yet again as the Hulk going up top here. We've seen this a lot as they kind of split the team. Some go left and one in the middll. They did the strategy a lot in EMRC. Self-bubbled up. Mace is going full aggression, and you love to see it now. And there it is. Zatex throwing down the flames and getting the sparks early.
Zatex was positioned very nicely up on that high ground there too, but forced to back away while Salvo's taking a good amount of that pressure. And Momentum being on that Loki is something else to look out for. Same thing for Jabori. Trying to match that together. Nice little stun as Jabori's Stinkers are going to be able to try to recover here, but Mace is also taking a lot of damage as a huge stun prevents Zatex from backing away. But Zatex, still alive for right now, does get healed up thanks to Baser and Momentum.
Chuckles hit that from half court. I mean, that was an insane Gamma Freeze there. As now Mace is just holding W. No one to disrupt him, and that's kind of the strategy of having all of them go right. He can push up left here, and now Mace has got the Meteor M close to impact. Looking around, Baser's going to be that first one, or Momentum, I guess, there with the Eternal Bomb. Let's see how the comms go for this team. They have what they need for sustain, Odyssey does. Dreamland, can they answer? And it's going to be Mace and the Meteor M. Can they land it?
So close to going low for both Zatex and Zombo, but oh my! Momentum off of the God of Mischief getting the copy. Shuts down one Eternal Bomb, but at least they have Baser right there to help contain them. But this allows Valentina to try to get away, but right through the invisible boundary, everyone is grouped up, so that allows the whale to come crashing down and deletes Valentina from allowing her to get the full extension of that invisible boundary.
Yeah, I mean, that was going perfect there for Dreamland, but Zatex and Self were pretty much like on enemy territory, completely holding W on their side. I mean, that was perfect play. And you said it perfectly. You have to play very close together here on this map, and Zatex is feasting off that with what Phoenix celebrates that for. So pushing back, love what they did. They used a lot to get it, though. Zatex the only one up here for the ultimate.
Trying to body block them, though, right through that portal before jumping in, just trying to clear some space because Odyssey are holding it down right now. And with the setup that they currently have with Self and the Gamma Squids, some pressure. But Dreamlight do have answers here with Jabor being able to get the copy from the Invisible Woman. Gets the invisible boundary. Can they land it smart? No! As the slam down, it may not be the Invisible Woman, but it still is able to find Chime from the sky.
Mace is definitely playing lights out right now as he pushed forward. This is where that double strategist ult earlier is going to come to haunt him a little bit, and what they had to utilize to hold on to that point. Self does have the ult, but the Augmoto goes out, and it is going to shine here as Jabor gets 1, 2, 3, 4, and the ace is coming. Dreamland, though, does have doesn't know that the portal is going to be coming right there. Look at Sobel just shoot through that portal to try to spawn, but the Gamma Squid set up perfectly here for so much damage.
Oh, yeah, and Zatex just took all that damage too. Stinkers had already been set up here. Sobel takes a bit of some stun pressure here too. Chime then follows up, finds Soko, and it's just too much, but at least with the Eternal Bond, is it worth the stall potential here with everyone going out? I mean, they keep it going for as long as possible. Less than 40 seconds on the clock in Dreamland. That means that they're going to have to try to hold on to rotating these strategist ultimates just for that next point.
I compliment you, Hulk, but Ben would...
Yeah, I'm not crazy about the decision to try to push everything there, but also they usually give a lot of space at the beginning of this point too. So, you know, they used, first of all, we had a Thor sighting, if anybody was curious if they've seen the God of Thunder. We saw him for 5 seconds there. Yeah, they've got Self in the whale. Momentum is ready. We'll see if yet again they can match that. Mace there on the Strange to answer. So I'm not crazy about Dreamland's comp right this second, but we'll see what they can get out of this Agamotto for Mace.
Seeing here back on the high ground right now with Dreamland having at least 3 ultimates, making forward with Mace really approaching the Eye of Agamotto, but Zatex uncontested up on the high ground allows him to set up, trying to split some more of that potential attention, as Momentum also has that reset potential too with the God of Mischief. But it's about controlling this next angle, and the way that Dreamland's playing, they're wrapping around the corner. But Stinkers, if it isn't on the Star-Lord, if it isn't on the Psylocke, it's here on the Namor, who is here to play with the whale right through the invisible boundary too.
Yeah, I mean, that was complete perfection. Dreamland, ever since point 2 of Spider Island, has just not skipped a beat in their team play. That is one of the things we highlighted in the MRC. We're seeing it come to shine here. Odyssey now having their backs against the wall a bit more as momentum is slipping through their fingers. A minute and 46 seconds left. Stinkers, their best player, here at the top, putting that pressure on early. Chuckles, they have plenty to respond with. Valentina Eve goes up, down goes Soko, no connection, and it's going to be the opposite of Chime with the 1-2. It's the strategist getting it done, Vicky.
And Chuckles with the reset there, too. Talk about survivability. You also mentioned this at the very beginning, Cozy, how important momentum is for a map like this, because look at Dreamland's position right now. They even have ultimates that they're still saving in the bank for that next push. That's why you're seeing the Vanguards push all the way up, because it can get a little tricky here if you don't get to clear some of that space before that one choke.
Yeah, speed run at point 2 there for sure, and they just carried that right from the finished battle of point 1. We said, hey, was that worth using the ults on the end of point 1? Well, we saw that come to light there pretty badly. Now, Self does have the Kraken impact, goes to the carry hero himself in the Winter Soldier. Baser can follow, momentum will then be able to chime up, so they have what they need for the defensive effort.
Dude, your Mace is trying to get into position. You already know when a Doctor Strange is trying to fish, maybe for that Eye of Agamotto, and with the Eternal Bond used up first, now Sambo grouping everybody together. This is just going to enable Odyssey with the green light, but Valentina with the damage orb, and then the pull in. The strategists have chosen just violence from Dreamland right now onto Odyssey.
Hello, Sue Storm. Valentina, we've gassed you up this whole entire matchup, and rightfully so. You're seeing it right here come to light. Just clutch play from the strategist, honestly, since point 2 now, forcing Odyssey to switch over to what they want to do. Momentum is getting close to their ult, but it's been nothing but all gas. No breaks. Dreamland making this dream a reality here as they're pushing closer and closer to this finish. Agamotto ready for Mace. This is the biggest one so far of his young career into Rivals. Stinkers ready to follow up with the whale. He knows it. He's going to go up. He's going down, lands it. The wizard hits it, and with it comes no follow. So going to be curious on what they end up rolling with here. It does go out, but no connection.
Oh, yeah, it actually was able to finally get at the very end, because his goal was momentum in that case, and then when momentum gets taken out, everybody follows here, as it is a complete team wipe in favor for Dreamland to get this payload to the finish line.
And these teams are so fun to watch. Dreamland, it is just such a solid unit. A lot of people that played together now since season 0. We're seeing that come to light. I mean, Maze, Valentina, they've been together now for such a long time. Different names, same team, same core energy. And looking at it, if you're Odyssey, yeah, you're definitely not happy with that performance. I think it slipped out pretty quickly there, going from point 1 and onward. Not an impossible time to beat, though, Vicky, so still plenty of margin for victory. We've seen it with 100 Thieves. They came back, and Odyssey do the same.
Yeah, I feel like just when you are on a map like this and you aren't able to find your footing, it's so difficult to try to recontest, and Dreamland did everything right, including building up early space. Once they got to the checkpoint that they needed, they were able to hold on to a lot of these ultimates and only save them for specific scenarios, like the attempt on the Meteor M versus the Invisible Boundary that was called in, and even though it didn't land on its mark, it was still enough pressure to force the Invisible Woman outside of the Invisible Boundary too.
Yeah, that's a good call out there as we look towards what the strategy might be for Dreamland, and looking at the stats too. Obviously, Stinkers doing what they do well, rocking the 15 burger there on final elims and damage overall. No one got eliminated, barely. Jabrori didn't even die one time there. Crazy business on what they were able to do and get away with.
Dude, it's the fact that Stinkers got away with literally 15 final hits and only went down once. Like, Stinkers is playing out of his mind right now. As we get started with Odyssey now rolling out on the attack here, they're going to be going on to the Bucky. Momentum still sticking to the Invisible Woman, and Zeta is also sticking to the Phoenix.
All right, let's see what way they go to the traditional path up Main Street here. Self knows what he has to do to get this job done. Soko at 23% and a rising Baser to follow, but right now it's going to be the strategist of Dreamland that won him the first time, and they're getting more as Chime pushing forward aggressively. Stinkers though gets the first laugh against Zatex. The hit scan hero should go in favor of Zatex. No, it is going to be the Triton from downtown, Vicky, to force his team to push back early.
Taking notes out here, because the way that we've been seeing the No More play, I mean, if you just let this slide through, this is always one of those team ups that I'm always looking out for when it comes to even my own respective ranked gameplays. But the way that Stinkers has been playing, not just the Namor, but the Star-Lord too, he is so on point and is able to get set up with these Gamma Squids as Self is trying to pinpoint wherever they are, and Salvo trying to build up some space with these walls.
Yeah, 2 minutes 53 seconds here. They have plenty of time. Got to play their speed. Valentina Eve has the invisible boundary ready to rock. Chime's going to be the first one in. Mace to follow. He's hit the first.
Oh!
The second. Slam dunk on the 2-limb.
Point blank in their face? Are you kidding me? Huge output off the Meteor M, and now Soko walks up, finds Jabori next, who, by the way, goes out without using the God of Mischief, and nobody is looking behind because Zatex sees what is happening before his eyes and knows that he is just going to get away with even more damage, even more KOs. Are you kidding me? Dreamland with a crazy hold.
And Odyssey used, they have no strategist ults to the name, right? So Valentina and Jabori can put up against what is going to be this combo. They're going to have to, the Sample Self duo that we talk about so much, they're going to have to find it in them right now if they want to be relevant in the winner's bracket to get the elim before anything bad can happen. But how are you going to get through this strategist approach? If you're Valentina and Jabori, play separate a little bit here. Make sure one of you don't get picked off to keep this team sustained.
Let's see how they play this, because Valentina's so good at doing the double jump and staying invisible just for the cooldown and wait on another double jump here. She's been trying to get out of trouble a lot, as Zatex, with that Phoenix ultimate, could actually reveal exactly where she is as she used it right before. But if the group hug comes in, and now the invisible boundary brings everybody together. But Mace now looking to see if he could come down with that Meteor M, almost with a cheeky play. Could have caught somebody out up on the high ground, but doesn't land its mark, as now Odyssey have a lot of sustainability ready to go.
Yo, those lanterns literally just helped a billion damage.
Yeah.
So does still get the picks. That's what's going to be important. They were able to get through one of it, not the other there. Great little dodge. Chime throwing down. The whale comes raining up above. You've got Stinkers raining down the trains from above. Chuckles laughing it down, getting both Self and Phaser out of this. Time is ticking, and so is Odyssey's hopes to stay in the winner's bracket.
Nobody is looking at where Stinkers is because everyone is so fixated on the pressure from Chuckles. Chime is on the opposite side of Stinkers, so that way they don't look at Stinkers. This is just primary splitting focus fire right now, and the fact that Stinkers is uncontested, this is single-handedly going to dismantle Odyssey unless they start focusing Stinkers.
Looking like an Omega level X-Men out there. Dude, this guy, no one is taking care of this man. He happens to be the best player on the team that we've seen so far, constantly, both MRC now in this tournament, and he's not even playing his best hero in Psylocke. Again, if you don't know the name, you will now. Here's Dreamland, who did fall early, is looking like they are going to hold the fortress down behind the fortresses of Mace and the Vanguards now. 8 seconds, 7 seconds on the clock. Zatex has the Phoenix to go, but they've got all the answers back.
But the timing on the extermination, though, let's see if Mace could find its mark here with the Meteor M. Drops all the way down on top of the head of his teammate Chuckles. But then with Mace following up onto Baser, no sustainability here. Sumble goes out next, and it looks like Dreamland right now with this defense have held back Odyssey. Your MRC Season 3 winners were your winners for a reason, and they start off MRI even better.
The MRC to ignite in the grand stage here. What a way to show up. That's exactly the momentum you want to take into this tournament. Going while down, I cannot wait to talk to them because I casted their whole grand finals. I finally get to meet some of this team, and I'm excited to do so as Stinkers gets that MVP. Hey, 39-1, Vicky. 39-1.
What, man? That is insane. Literally, we just watched Stinkers get away with murder. He went down once. The Namor went down once. The 21 final hits. Oh my, I just can't.
Mace played a perfect game, too. I got to highlight, Mace had some crazy plays there from the Meteor M.
The double Meteor.
On the Yakamotos. I mean, like, Mace is noticed like the shot caller in a lot of ways. And listen, I got to say, way to rise up at that right team. This team is so fun to listen to and to watch, too. I heard their final comms they posted when they won the MRC. It's a madhouse in there. Love to see it. Can't wait to talk to them as Zatex and the story of Odyssey will have to be seen yet again from the lower bracket.
Not gonna lie, Cozy, you and I, man, with our predictions, today we had quite a performance from all of our teams.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, just incredible to see what they were able to... the teams, again, people that get doubt, you know, if Alani would have won that, it would have just been all of us in shambles over here of what we predicted. But that is what I got to learn by now, Vicky. Whatever I think is going to happen in this Ignite tournament, it's always the opposite.
Look at this. He just gets away with it the way that he is uncontested on this high ground.
he made a house up there. I mean, he was an idle game for him. I mean, he was just chilling up there the whole time. I don't think one person saw him as he was just throwing down whales and squids. Could have made himself more known, but my goodness, that's exactly what winners look like. Dreamland, congratulations on your first win in Ignite.
It's been great to see how this team has also just gone through a lot too, right? I just believe that the way that they've been able to come out of the MRC, now show up in the MRI, showcasing what Stinkers has in store for us, and he's just one piece of the pie, as he's only gone down once in that final game. 39 elims, got away with so much damage, 21 final hits on top of it all.
And you know what? We get to talk with someone who I'm super excited to finally meet. I've talked to him before, seen them play a lot. Again, they were on Citadel, now coming over here. And to see now Mace and the performance they pulled up will be our interview here in just a moment. But this team, I know what it means to them. I know what it means to him specifically. And it's always fun to see the MRC and the results from there get carried into this. And that momentum cannot be talked about enough here. So excited to be bringing them in here in just a moment, Vicky.
Yeah, you know, being able to talk to one of the members here of Dreamland, also we get to pick their brains on how it has been to make these adjustments. Obviously, they've had the time here, but it's about finding that foundation to even push them to where they are right now, right? Because we talk about the flexibility. We saw the Jeff plays from Chime, then we got to see the Ultron plays at the very end there too. Stinkers having that same flexibility if you're going to go over to the Hulk, which we actually saw from Odyssey. I believe it was like map number 1 where we saw the Hulk, but we actually didn't even see the Namor and Hulk team up, I believe, at that point. But here we have the Gamma Squids coming out, and they're just putting in so much work on top of Mace getting a crazy 2-pick off that Meteor M. And that wasn't just the only beautiful play with the Meteor M too, right? But that was just the highlight of what we saw on their defense.
Yeah, this team has a lot of flexibility. Even Valentina Eve, right? Like we talked about her being a great Sea Storm. I've seen them play terrific at Luna and adjust there, and that's what they're going to need to continue to do. This is a great first win, but they're going to continue to build on that flexibility and just ride this momentum and this win that they have under their belts. It just, again, pumped to see a team that has put in so much effort. These are the true, like, ladder grinders of Rivals. They are always, you said it earlier with Valentina. I know Mace is out there. The guy's always queuing up. Like, these are the ones, the soldiers out there in ladder and rank play.
Again, like when I was really fixated on like solo queuing and stuff like that, the number 1 player that I would always see like take up like 3 slots, I was like, oh man, Valentina's cracked. Like, let me go check out on the profile, saw the Invisible Woman plays, and obviously like everyone playing season 4, Invisible Woman, Mantis, like there's a reason why the strategists are continuously in that conversation. We know that the strategists in this game are incredibly strong. But did you see, like, I think Valentina had gotten like over 9k damage at one point with the Invisible Woman. You're juggling that plus the healing output that Invisible Woman provides, on top of also saving your double jump for certain situations to survive with your invisible boundary out.
Yeah, not to mention Jabrori saving like the entire team with the Lantern earlier there on the Kraken impact into it all, and then Chime after the first map on Celestial Husk. I didn't see that man die. I mean, he was there the whole time. You guys have been casting this man for a very long time in the rival scene. Excited to officially now welcome him into the winners interview. It's been a long time coming. Mace, what is going on, man? It has been too long. We have congratulations, buddy, on your first win.
Thank you so much. Yeah, we're feeling good, we're feeling great, and I'm glad to finally talk to you face to face. And yeah, you know.
Long time coming, buddy. I gotta say, you know, casted you guys obviously at the grand finals for the MRC, watched you in the Boger Bash. Now we're here at Ignite. Tell me about the trials and tribulations that this unit has gone through to then get to the MRC, job's not finished, and then now get the first win, man. Talk to me about this unit.
Yeah, so I think especially as a team, like, I'm not even kidding, we formed as a team, I think like 30 minutes before roster lock for MRC. So we were like last second, last everything, and just like we kind of trust each other. You know, I've been a former teammate with Valentina. Chime has been a former teammate with some other people on our team. So we already kind of built that, you know, trust and foundation with each other. So going into this team was like really easy and really, you know, just not that scary, you know, because like jumping into a team like at the very last moment can be kind of scary, but we worked really hard and now we're here.
Yeah, I just have to say, like, the fact that I feel like I've repeated this like 5 times, but it's just like the Marvel Rebels experience if you ever like solo queue ladder, but no one was looking at Stinkers. Like, you guys enable each other so much. You getting that double KO, like off the medium M, had Cozy and I going crazy out here. But I love how you talk about still building up into the cohesion that you guys did with the limited time that you had. And like the average viewer at home that who may not have had that experience yet to compete, explain why that's so difficult here. You know, you guys are also coming into a new meta. You're still being able to deal with the triple strategist, triple, you know, just vanguards on top of it all. Are you worried about going into your next opponent and looking at the bracket?
So our next opponent is Rad, which is a very familiar home to mine. You know, I'm good friends with Gale, with Guru, with pretty much everyone on the team. In fact, that's also my former team, way back in like MRC Season 0. So as much as I love them, you know what I mean? Like, someone's got to take them out. And, you know, it's going to suck, but maybe they make the lower bracket run, you know what I mean? Like, hopefully they can make it up.
Hey, listen, the two Angela teams, all right? You got Guru on Angela, and now we got Angela with you, man. I've watched your roster yourself. I always see it on Twitter. You're like, you know, you'd be like LFT, and you'd put your kind of heroes that you were confident with, right? And I've seen that expand more and more. And I've got to say, when people talk about Mace, they talk about this man on the mic and being that calm leader for your team and shouting out the communications. Walk me through a little bit of how you approach that, because I've heard nothing but compliments on how you lead this team communication-wise in battles.
Yeah, so I'm definitely one of the main IGLs on the team. I do kind of want to shout out Chime too. Chime is also another big part of our comm structure. But you know, me especially with calling shots, you know, or like shot calling, like who are we fighting, who are we looking at, and then he's more like the fight planner, like, oh, this is what we want to do this fight, and other things like that. So we work really well together to lead our team into greatness and to make sure that everyone's on the same page. And so that's why I really love Chime. Like, honestly, shout out Chime.
Awesome.
I guess my final question for you, Mace, I love being able to see how you guys have been approaching not only like the IGL role and trying to split that up together as a team with Chime, but looking at your opponents with Odyssey, were you guys worried at any point? Because that even the first map being as close as it was, I feel like you guys were rotating through your ultimates and timing and calling out to when abilities were used so well, even if you weren't together in that one individual fight. Let's say if we would see like a separate 1v1 isolation pick, that was communicated because we would see follow-ups. Were you guys worried at all facing off against Odyssey?
Definitely. Like, Odyssey is a very respectable team, and I think the big thing about Odyssey and the reason why they did so well in stage 1 is because people underestimated them, and people saw their players as just ranked joke players, and then they came out, they beat FlyQuest, they beat a few other teams I don't remember off the top of my head. But going into this, we definitely 100% respected them. I respect them personally as players, and we respected them as a whole as a team. Nothing but love for them, and honestly, like, this isn't the end for them. I know that they're going to do really well in the lower bracket, and who knows, they will make playoffs, in my opinion, too. So
I was going to say, there's a lot of players out there with tons of passion, but a lot of those guys on Odyssey match the passion that I see from you guys. Like, y'all are one of my favorite stories to see evolve, especially because behind the scenes, I mean, I've talked with you, I've seen y'all evolve quite literally, man. And so I just want to say, soak up the win. I know you're still even soaking up the MRC win, but soak up this win, enjoy it. You know, we're in the seeding stage, bud, but big congrats to you, the team, Valentina, give my love to her, and just great job all around.
Of course. Thank you guys so much.
All right, buddy.
Thank you guys so much.
Appreciate you, Mace, as always, and we hopefully look forward to talking to you again as we... Now we're going to be closing up the show. It's fun to finally talk to Mace, though, and see that team. And as he just said, you know, Odyssey was a very good team. And so I don't know how many people had Dreamland advancing, but hey, we are here now, and this is what the seeding is looking like, Vicky. It's been a show today.
Can we also just give a highlight to all of our interviewers too, by the way? Like, our interviews have just been fantastic. All the players that have spoken to us today have had such great positive attitudes. And I feel like with that confidence too and giving that respect, nobody is sleeping on anyone. You know what I mean? Like, you cannot sleep. As you heard it right there, that's what happens when you end up sleeping on a team. And Mace was ready for it, showing that respect to his formidable opponents.
Yeah, looking at Group A, Stage 2, guys, look at this lineup. Wow. Oh, my goodness. Top End, Envy vs. Fly, Dreamland, Rad. Cannot wait for the Angela v. Angela Vions. We have an insane lower bracket as well. Intergalactic or Odyssey. getting knocked out is crazy business here as we look at the lower bracket for Group A. Vicky, all those matchups elite.
Wow, that is, I remember we were talking about the group of death for a reason out here, but that's going to be interesting to see which of those teams are going to come out on top. But that's also what happens when you get to see some early upsets in that lower bracket. As we take a look at Group B right now and what to expect, there you talk about Extinction and what they did today versus Busy at Work. The question is, are they ready to deal with the Titans that are 100 Thieves after they looked mortal today versus Alani Win, who performed amazingly?
Yeah, 100 Thieves definitely likes their path to success here. Going, Lonnie Win definitely formidable. I look towards the lower bracket. You had favorites kind of going in with Busy at Work. Like, people really liked that team. Well, now they face a Lonnie Win, who's anything but a pushover, Vicky. So highlight that one for sure. Want to talk about that. And then your favorite player versus Dark Zero. Dark Zero having a lot of old Sentinels. That's going to be a blast. Heck, if you see Sentinels get knocked down to the lower, you could get the rematch at the biggest stakes. Sentinels being the ones that won group stage, right? Like, you have so many storylines. And this is what's great about sports and esports in particular. Love seeing when things kind of evolve, how we end up with these stories, these players. Mace just said it. He's playing against old teammates. You love to see it.
Yeah, YFP also earned so much respect despite the loss too. I just feel like that's kind of been, the subject of a lot of these teams. And it's just day 2 alone closing up, Cozy. We got so much more action to look forward to.
Yeah, and taking a look back and production, they're throwing it up. Here's the predictions. Again, y'all, we are looking at what we threw down. You know what? Hey, I went 3, so I'm not.
All right. Cozy's trying to get a perfect score out here. He's trying to come out of his win after winning last time.
I won last time. I got to carry my torch, going forward here. But yeah, no, listen, all I know is all these were very close, and I love to see us both rock with the side of Dreamland. I said, who predicted them to win? Well, we both did, so I'm glad that we got that right, Vic. But listen, tomorrow, day 3, we've got a ton of great matchups. Dog and Ship bringing a great show to you guys as well. As we look at that schedule, Envy, Fly, to kick things off, Hello Banger, Nemesis, Sentinels. Well, look at this lineup, Vic.
Oh, I also love that we're already moving on to that upper bracket, best of 5 territory, which completely changes everything, by the way, especially when it comes to counter picks and bans. And then to end the day, we got Rad versus Dreamland, and then Extinction, versus 100 Thieves. And that's going to be another big banner, with the last 2 series being a best of 3.
Yeah, I know. I was wondering if we're going to go upper first or lower, and I'm like, jealousy's booming right now. These are awesome matchups. This is going to be so fun to watch. As a fan, I'm going to be there watching our great casters in Dog and Ship. You guys are going to crush it. But yeah, looking forward to it because all these teams have really something to showcase. Fly looking like the second favorite with the addition of new people like Vision, but also you have Envy, who is right now the favorite in America. And so that is going to be potentially an early finals match that we might see the preview of, right, Vic? But I gotta say, today has definitely surpassed my expectations of what I thought we would see talent-wise and roster-wise, and it just gets me excited for the next month.
Yeah, I'm very hyped up, and I'm also really excited to see how the meta has shifted in Americas, right? Because we've already been exposed to a bunch of days from EMEA. I believe today was their day number 6 or 7 or so, and just being able to see the difference extend between all these different regions, we got to see it at LAN, and we got to see what that meant for a lot of these teams. Now we get to see it iron out at the infancy of stage 2 here in Americas, and I can't wait to see that go down for tomorrow.
Yeah, new plays, new teams, different stories. It's all unfolding right here at day 2. As we carry on to day 3, I want to say from myself and Vicky, we're so glad you guys could join us through what was a 6-hour journey today. Shout out to all you guys here the entire time. Be sure to go to All the Madness tomorrow, and I'm going to go get a pizza 100% right now. Vicky, I know you're hungry as well. Y'all, appreciate you guys, and until tomorrow, good night.